March. The man accused of stabbing and killing a health tech entrepreneur on a CAP Metro bus in May will not go to trial. The courts committed Deepak Kandel to a mental health facility after a doctor evaluated him and found him incompetent.
KXAN's Brianna Hollis revisits the case and tells us what we can expect moving forward.
These court documents outline the mental health evaluation process for Deepak Kandel, from a murder charge to a mental incompetency finding. This all stems from the May 14th stabbing death of Akshay Gupta on a CAP Metro bus near South Lamar and Barton Springs Road. Police say the stabbing happened, quote, without provocation. Gupta's friends and family say he moved to Austin from India to pursue the development of health technology aimed at helping senior citizens with their walking and balance.
Once you meet him, he would just leave a different impression on you.
Just giving heart.
As Gupta's loved ones seek justice, a court filing this month has removed Kandel from jail and put him into a mental health facility. Kandel's attorney told KXAN in an email Kandel, quote, has a long history of serious mental illness, which will be relevant to all aspects of his case. We also consulted a third-party legal expert on how the evaluation process works.
The board had appointed a well-respected psychiatrist here in Austin, Dr. Morrow, to go do a competency evaluation on Mr. Kandel. She would go out to the jail, she would spend hours meeting with him, she would pull all of his previous psychiatric records.
So what happens now?
He will be sent to Vernon, which is a state hospital, is also a secure facility. Because he has a murder case, and then he will be given inpatient services there to try to regain his competency.
Moving forward, Kandel would be scheduled for reassessment every 120 days. If he becomes competent, the pre-trial process would resume. Brianna Hollis, KXAN News.
And we've previously dug through Kandel's criminal history, and records show him in and out of jail since 2016, primarily on misdemeanor cases. We also found several mental health evaluations throughout the process.
This is an issue that is essential to the cattle industry, to food supply, which are at risk.
A new effort to save livestock and deer. Today, Governor Greg Abbott and U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins announced new plans to stop the spread of a type of parasitic fly.
So it was once nearly eradicated in the U.S., but is seeing a comeback in Central America. KXAN senior science reporter Eric Henriksen tells us how these tiny creatures could cost the state billions of dollars.
My grandmother was a dental assistant in Florida, and she told me once about them finding a screwworm infection in the mouth of a patient that came into the dentist's office.
Larry Gilbert lived in Texas in the 1940s.
The screwworm was a really big problem on cattle and wildlife like deer.
Today, the UT Austin biology professor and faculty director at the Brackenridge Field Lab looks at the tiny creatures.
This box is species in the same genus of the screwworm fly.
In the 1960s, screwworms, a type of fly, were mostly eradicated from the U.S.
They irradiate the flies and sterilize the males.
The species, which screws into open wounds and can even kill its hosts, was pushed further south into Central America. But in recent years, they've returned, creeping into Mexico just a few hundred miles from the Texas border.
This can result in billions of dollars of losses a year.
In June, Governor Greg Abbott announced a new response team designed to prevent the spread of screwworms. Friday, the governor joined U.S. Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, announcing a plan to prevent screwworms from spreading north and killing off cattle and deer.
Today, we are announcing USDA will invest and build a domestic sterile fly production facility in Edinburgh, Texas.
The facility will breed 300 million sterile flies a week. The Trump administration will also invest in new tech to fight the screwworms, as well as work with Mexico to track the species.
We've got a lot of data to collect, we've got a lot of work to do, but we have to protect our cattle industry and our beef industry in this country.
Professor Gilbert worries less about cattle and more about deer.
The deer herds would be very vulnerable to this, and you don't go around treating wounds on deer. It's hard to find them.
In Austin, Eric Henriksen, KXAN News.
And there are at least 2 species of this fly. The smaller is less likely to attach to cattle and deer. It's also more common and can be found near trash cans.
And looking in depth right now, the economic impact of a screwworm outbreak is huge. The Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association estimates the outbreak would cost Texas cattle raisers around $1.8 billion a year, and the state's deer hunting industry could see a $9.6 billion hit.
I want people to recognize that it is a real problem. It's not going away.
The number of students experiencing homelessness is on the rise in some of Central Texas's biggest school districts. Yesterday, we took you to Round Rock ISD, where last year they had more than 1,000 students who were homeless.
And today we take a look at Austin ISD, where numbers are just as high. Nabil Ramadna has been digging into that data and shows us a breakdown of where students are staying when they aren't in school.
Empty hallways across Central Texas are filling up once again. With summer over, students are heading back to the classroom, and you might not know it, but there are quite a few who are experiencing homelessness.
And the students who experience homelessness are some of the most vulnerable students in our state.
It's a topic Representative James Tallarico knows all about. As a former teacher, many of the students he taught face the challenges of not having a place to call home.
Every day I'm here, I'm constantly thinking about my former students and students just like them all over the state.
Here's a look at data for students experiencing homelessness in Austin ISD from 2019 to 2025. It's important to note that the 2025 data was requested in the middle of the year, but it still offers a snapshot. You can see some years the numbers rise and some they fall, but overall the numbers remain more than 1,200 students over the past several years. The McKinney-Vento Act is a federal law that ensures homeless children and youth have access to public education, just like their housed peers. Under this act, districts keep track of the different types of homelessness. In 2025, AISD had about 35 students who were unsheltered. Those who are living in shelters or transitional housing is another category. About 280 students were identified here. Students who live in hotels and motels made up about 70 students in Austin ISD. The final category is doubled up, where multiple families are living in one apartment or home. This was the largest number, with more than 970 AISD students. But many students across the state go unidentified, and some don't know there's help.
All of this comes down to strong relationships between educators and students, and making sure that we, one, know where all our kids are coming from, 2, they feel comfortable opening up when there is some kind of difficulty in their home life.
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
Well, time is running out for you to see Zilker Theater's free summer musical. We caught a portion of tonight's outdoor production of Bring It On the Musical, and it is inspired by the movie about competitive high school cheerleading. This was released back in 2000. So shows are at the Zilker Hillside Theater. Tomorrow night is the final performance, and those who know about the annual show know to get there early.
For the most part, everybody comes and sets up like hours before to get good spots. They usually jump into Barton and then come over and watch the show.
And attending the show is free, but donations are accepted. Here's a familiar face, Erica Brennan. She took part in the play. She played a role of a teacher in the background.